looking at the second in a potentially long series of Neil Young lessons from his, in my opinion, greatest electric guitar album, Ragged Glory. The first one was from a couple of years ago, actually. I think it's called Guitar Lesson Neil Young's Lead Style, something like that, which focused mainly on Country Home. Today we're going to be looking mainly at Over and Over. These two songs are very similar. Neil's Ragged Glory is kind of like a suite of songs that feature similar chord progressions, similar lead guitar motifs. So we're going to be looking at some of those today. What I just showed you was the introduction to Over and Over. Before we get to that song, which we're going to cover the intro, two beautiful licks out of the solo, and the fills from the chorus. Before we do that, I'm going to go back to Country Home for a minute and show you the intro in a different way than I showed you in that lesson a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, I played the G chord as a D form, a D shape, up here at the 7th fret. But since then, I have come to believe that Neil plays it up here as your movable A shape. As we'll see, Neil uses these movable chord shapes extensively for arpeggios, hammer-ons, pull-offs, etc. So let's take a look at this Country Home intro for a second. Here's a demo of it. What that looks like up here at the 12th fret is simply an arpeggio of that G chord, barring 4, 3, 2 at the 12th fret, and then they're just notes out of that G major pentatonic scale. Both these songs today are going to be featuring the G major pentatonic scale, which is the same notes as the E minor pentatonic scale, with a different root. The root is G major. Both of these songs feature a chord progression that is exactly the same. G, C, D. That's it. Neil does a lot with G, C, D. Because they're both in G major, they're using the G major pentatonic scale, but they're also using the two other notes from the C and D chords that are not in the G major pentatonic scale. And those would be the notes C, the root obviously, the C chord, and F sharp, which is the major third in a D chord. So you'll see these licks go more like... So he's adding a couple more notes in the scale. They're chord tones from those two other chords. A C chord, C, E, G, the E and the G are already in the G major scale. The D chord, D, F sharp, A, the D and the A are already in the G major pentatonic scale. So the only two notes of the three chords in the song that are not in the scale are the C and the F sharp. So that's it. That's what Neil does. Practice that, okay? So, Country Home intro. Okay, that's all over the G, and then you go to the C. Oh yeah. D shape of our C chord up here at the 12th fret, and then walk down. Just sliding that same D shape up 2 frets. Okay, so the 3 chords. He plays it a little differently, different times, he messes around with it, but that's essentially it. It's much easier to play here than starting here and going up to the F or E shaped versions of the C and the D chord here. So that's my opinion, that Neil is playing it up here at the 12th fret. Okay, let's go back to over and over. Same 3 chords, C, D, and G, starting with the G. The intro, I played it 2 ways, the main riff. I believe Neil plays it up here, but I wanted to show it to you here as well. This is a double stop lick. If you play it where Neil plays it, I've looked at some live videos, it is at the 10th fret. It's a D chord, right? So 6th fret, double stop 10th fret, 5 and 4 strings, which is the same as only instead of the E or F shape of the D chord, you're playing the A shape of the D chord, just moving everything up 1 string. And then the last time, or however you want to do the slide. Messy, right? That's the way Neil plays, is messy. By the way, don't say anything about the guitar tuning. If you think the guitar is not in tune with the MP3 player, you've never listened to Neil Young. Right, a lot of whammy action, a lot of Bigsby action. Neil's tuning is usually not precise, okay? Alright, so that's the introductory lick. Then he comes down here. Speaking of tuning issues, B, C, D, G. And when it shifts to the D chord, he hits an A on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and lets it rock, right? So he plays that 3 times, and then the 4th time he goes. 3rd string, hammer on from the open D to the E, back to the D because you're on a D chord, and then I flipped over to the neck pickup for the opening lead. I don't know if Neil does that or not, but he plays that really woolly neck P90 sound a lot. Obviously I don't have a P90 here, I have a DiMarzio 36th Anniversary PAF. But you come up here to the, I just like the way it sounds. Come up here to the 12th fret, again the E minor / G major pentatonic scale. Notes out of that G major pentatonic on the 4th and 3rd strings. Slides, a lot of vibrato. Then adding the C note. Which you also add here. 10th fret, 4th string. So he ends that lead on the 7th fret A note, 4th string, and the 9th fret E note, 3rd string. It's kind of got a little bit of a dissonance thing there going over the D chord. And you'll see that this is reminiscent of how one of the lead lines from the solo resolves. I'll show you in just a second here. So the rest of the intro solo, he's noodling on those same kind of notes. It's not as interesting. I'm going to skip to the chorus, which is over and over again, my love, over and over again. Okay? When he goes over and over again, he goes... So it's just 5th string, little fill here. Walking up A, B, C, A, B, C, 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 B, A, G. And then the next one is, which is hammer on the C note, D, E, open G. Particularly gnarly, I like that. Okay, so 2 of the solo licks I'm going to show you. This first one is from the 3-minute mark. Check it out. What he's doing there is really cool. He's riffing over that same... basic intro lick, and then he starts climbing. Some beautiful hammer-ons. So it's 5-7, 7-8, 8-10, 10-12, and then he does that same arpeggio from the opening of Country Home, only in Country Home it's going down, this time it's going up. Okay. D, 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 C, B, C, and it resolves on the E to F sharp, 9 to 11 there on the 3rd string because we're over a D chord. So he's playing the F sharp and the A out of a D chord. It's a beautiful resolution. So that's a beauty, right? That's classic Neil. All right, the next one is from 546. Just a pure, ragged, raunchy, double stop lick. Again, we're going G, C, D chords. You go. All on the 2nd string here, starting with barring. All on the 3rd and 2nd strings here, starting with barring the 12th fret, which is, of course, part of an A-shaped G major chord. What do you got there? Part of the F-shaped D and C chords, resolving, barring 3-2 at the 7th fret, which is of course part of a A-shaped D chord. So you're going G, D, C, G, D, C, D, D. Sweet. So, a lot of good Neil techniques here, right? He loves those open string licks out of the chords. He loves a simple chord progression. He likes arpeggios, hammer-ons. He likes double stops. A lot of Neil techniques here today. Have fun with them. Play along with Ragged Glory. It's one of the best play-along albums ever. Everyone can play 3 chords. Everyone can play leads out of 3 chords. Try it. You'll enjoy it. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time.